All right, guys, we're going to get started. There almost certainly will be some more people joining us because I think we've had 55 registrations. But the problem with this place, if you haven't been before, it's impossible to find. And if we wait, I think when we were here last time, if we waited till the last person turned up, we'd have got started about 4 p.m. or something like that. So I'm Giles. I'm the chairman of the CloudStack European User Group. Great to see, well, I'd like to say great to see so many of you here today, but actually we're only at about half of what should be here today, but so many new faces, which is really nice to see. The ideas of this group, we've been running this group since about 2012. We normally get about 40 people turn up if we're not doing it here. We've run this group done lots of events in London, we've gone off to Berlin, Dresden, Prague, and the idea is to share all things CloudStack. So I'm guessing most people in this room are running or playing with or supporting something that's based on Apache CloudStack. And we have normally about 5 or 6 talks. We run them quarterly. Those talks are sometimes some CloudStack deep dives, some case studies from different users, interesting use cases, some related technology in terms of hypervisors, that sort of thing. So it's just the stuff that's interested to us in the CloudStack world. So say we tend to meet quarterly. We don't have an official membership database for this group. There's a LinkedIn group, which is the CloudStack European User Group. If you get yourself in that, then we'll make sure you get notified about the next event. My company, ShapeBlue, sponsor these events, and we have to say thank you to my company. Sometimes we have to say thank you to some other sponsors as well. And I just wanted to mention, this is the second time now we've done this at the Early Excellence Centre. So we really like this place because they really look after us. The food's good. It's not too easy to find, but can't fix that. What they do here is they teach primary school teachers new techniques and that sort of thing, and they really appreciate us coming and hiring the room from them because it helps them do more things. So I just promised I would tell you all about what they actually do here. And the really important thing, they've got loads of toys outside, which we're all quite welcome to play with. So there is Lego, there's Playmobil, and then if any of you want to go and build a Lego computer or something during the break, you're most welcome.
During the break.
Say again?
During the break.
During the break, yeah.
Can we go now?
Yeah, go on, off you go. Okay, so some really good talks today. I'll just do a quick roundup, like I normally do, of what's going on in the CloudStack world. Paul is then going to talk about some work he's been doing related to backup and recovery in CloudStack, which is been one of the big issues in CloudStack over the years. Vlad, where is Vlad? He's hiding somewhere. He's at the back. He's going to talk about building a redundant management cluster. Olivier where's he hiding? Oh, there he is. Olivier is from XCP-NG, which is the recent fork of Zen Server, and that's something I know we are really interested in, and we've been talking to Olivier for some time, so he's coming to tell us about the work they're doing there. We'll have a break about 3:30. Boyan is over there from Storpool. Boyan's going to talk about software-defined clouds, and then finally Dag is going to do a deep dive on the CloudStack usage server. Probably should have put you up the agenda because I think that's maybe a bit dry, could it?
No one wants to go to the pub anyway.
No one wants to go to the pub. So after we've listened to Dag going into great detail about the usage server, we're going to a bar. What's it called? Somebody remind me. Lead Bellies. It's near Canada Water Tube, which I guess most of you will have come from. So we'll go there, have some drinks. And if we haven't got time for lots of questions and things, then we'll do it in the pub afterwards. Okay, so just a reminder, there's nothing official about this group. This is just a bunch of people who have got an interest in CloudStack. We call this the European user group, but there's user groups all over the place, okay? There is a German user group, I hope it's listed on there. There's a user group down in Brazil, all related to CloudStack, all doing similar things to this, okay? So this is not an official Apache CloudStack community thing. This is just a bunch of people who are interested in the technology. Since we did the last one, we had the Apache Roadshow in Berlin, which is really good. We did pretty much a whole track around CloudStack at that event. Was anybody here go? I know you did, because we went. No, that was quite a good event. In terms of what's going on with CloudStack in the last quarter, 4.11 was released in February of this year, which is actually before we met last time. Significant thing about 4.11 is it's an LTS branch, so for a couple of years the community will continue to support that and patch it and evolve it. And 4.11.1 was released the 3rd of July, which was the first maintenance fix for the 4.11 branch. Okay, so and up until roughly February 2020, the 4.11 branch will be supported. The next release, main release, is in planning, which is 4.12, but in the next few weeks we should see 4.11.2, which is another maintenance release of 4.11. Okay, so what we're seeing is most people gravitating, like they did with 4.9, which was an LTS release, they're gravitating towards 4.11 because they know they're going to have a couple of years support around it. 4.11 itself, I actually showed this slide last time we met, had lots of new features, the host HA framework, new certificate authority, some Prometheus integration, a new user interface connector to Cloudian, who do an S3 storage type thing, layer 2 networking. This all came in February in 4.11. So the release we've had since has been 4.11.1, which shouldn't really be exciting. It's just bug fixes. But there is some interesting stuff in 4.11.1. So at face value, it is just a maintenance release, or it was just a maintenance release, and it had about 140 fixes in it. But if you really read the release notes, this is actually the blurb that was written at the time. Yes, mainly fixes, corner cases around config drive and that sort of thing. But the bit I would just want to mention today is, well, actually including support for XCP-NG, which Olivier is going to talk about later, but also at the beginning there, speeding up the virtual router deployments. So even though it was a maintenance fix, there's some work gone into the virtual router during this release. And this is a concept that a few people in the community are working on. Darg actually wrote a blog. I've referenced it at the bottom around this. One of the biggest problems with CloudStack is upgrading it. And upgrading CloudStack itself is relatively simple, but it's the virtual routers, right? Hands up in the room, who's had a headache upgrading virtual routers? Yeah, everybody, right? And one of the big issues doing that is around the time it takes to upgrade those virtual routers, because destroying, rebuilding, restarting the virtual router is a significant amount of network downtime, virtual network downtime. Okay? So a whole load of work is going on, and we sort of coined this term, the eventual goal is zero downtime upgrades. The idea being you can upgrade CloudStack with zero downtime. We're not there yet, there's a whole load of work left to do. But the stuff that went into 4.11 has had these results, okay? So, I mean, you need to read the article to see the full detail of the full data set and what have you. But if you take, for example, VMware 5.5 to restart a virtual router under these conditions on 4.9.3 was about 120 seconds on average, coming down to 21 seconds with 4.11.1, okay? So massive reductions. Okay, in the actual network downtime. Read that blog. It gives you the full data set and explains exactly how that's been achieved. In terms of 4.11.1, there's been a lot of refactoring of what's on the virtual router. We've moved to Debian 9, thank you. Moved to Debian 9, which has made performance increases, and also introduced this concept of a parallel VR restart. Which is pretty much a situation of, bringing up an alternative, bringing up a secondary second router, virtual router, configuring that and killing the other one. Okay, so actually what we're doing is load balancing concept of bringing up a second one, so we don't have to wait for the downtime. It's not perfect. There's a whole load of work left to do in terms of actually getting them to do a proper handover and what have you, because the reason we've still got any downtime is that those parallel restarts are not properly handshaking, so there is a little bit of downtime there. Okay? But there's a vision long term that you can upgrade CloudStack and have no network downtime. That's the eventual plan. Generally, in terms of adoption, in terms of one of the key metrics we see is the amount of downloads of CloudStack, and I wanted to have, so there's two places you can download, two main places you can download the CloudStack packages. It's ShapeBlue and downloads.cloudstack.org, which gets a lot more traffic. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get the data in time to give you the results of that, but from our repo that we run at ShapeBlue, we're getting about 800 downloads a month of CloudStack. I think historically downloads.cloudstack.com was running at about double what we were doing at shapeblue.com. So, you know, probably up to sort of 2,000 people a month, or 2,000 downloads of CloudStack a month. Okay, nice trend in terms of we're seeing most people are now downloading 4.11 of CloudStack, so people are looking at the newer version. And then there's a sort of heat map there of where that's happening. So we're seeing people adopt CloudStack all over the world still. Okay, still of a reasonable sort of level of frequency. In terms of events we've got coming up in a couple of weeks' time, it's the annual CloudStack conference, which is in Montreal in Canada. 24th, 26th, but then there is a hackathon bolted on to the end of that. I know it's probably short notice if you didn't know about it already, but I would recommend it if you can try and get there. There's a lot more than just the few talks we have here. I think we're up to sort of, you know, there are like 35 talks, 2 tracks, lots of hackathon, much bigger attendance than we get at these sort of things. And if anybody is interested, ping me. I've got a few spare tickets kicking around, because the CloudStack Colab is co-located with Apache Con. So you actually, by buying a ticket to CloudStack Colab, you actually get to go into Apache Con as well and hear about all the other stuff that's going on in the other projects, etc. I've got a few spare tickets, free tickets if anybody's interested. I don't have free airline tickets, I'm afraid, or free hotel rooms or anything like that. The next one of these, we'll send out an email or something in the next few weeks, December 13th, and thank you very much to BT who are going to be hosting us. So those who haven't been before, it's the BT Innovation Centre, which is near St Paul's Cathedral. Okay. Right, last little bit before we get into the talks proper, and this is just an appeal from me. As I said at the beginning, everybody here is either running CloudStack or working with it or something like that. I hear this a lot from different organisations. We're talking about people adopting CloudStack. People saying, look, we don't hear much about CloudStack. Should we choose this technology? Oh, we don't hear about its adoption, etc., etc. I'm privileged, and in fact, there's a few of us in the room are quite privileged. We do, because we're involved in the community and commercially and what have you. Okay. So this happens all the time. This happens, I'll turn up and show them that actually there are a whole load of very big organisations who are using this technology, and more organisations are adopting it. And then after some time, we get to this situation. So we spin it around. I'll let you read that. And I or somebody from the community says, guys, great, you're running CloudStack. Will you do a case study? Will you, I don't know, do a press release or do something from your organisation to say you're now running Apache CloudStack? And oh, I don't know, it's open source and it's a bit tricky, and we only normally do that with vendors and what have you. And there's a structural problem there, because without the organisations who are running it just getting out and saying something, then there is a perception that nobody's running it. Okay, and you know, all the people in this room. There are a lot of large organisations who depend on Apache CloudStack, but we have this perception problem. Okay, so this is an appeal from me. If you have any ability to influence any of these things at your organisation, please try and get your organisation to be public about their use of CloudStack. Okay, I'm not talking about running a massive advertising campaign, but maybe just putting some blog article out or something like that. I'd love it. I know there's lots of people in this room at organisations who aren't on the CloudStack known user lists on the website. Okay, that would be lovely. I mean, we've got a lot of massive organisations on that list, but I know there's people in this room whose companies aren't on that list. If any companies would like to do a case study with the Apache Software Foundation about their use of this open source tech, we'd love it. We need this. It's the biggest problem. We've got plenty of developers in CloudStack. There's lots of new features coming in. People are adopting it, but we haven't got the marketing, because it's an Apache project. And then finally, if you want to go and talk about it, anybody ever does a conference talk, go out and mention CloudStack. Okay, we really sort of need this help and support from the people who are using the software. Okay, so that's all I'm going to talk about today. We'll get straight into the talks proper.